Hello once again. Good morning. Glad to have you with us here on this. Is this the first full week of June?
It is the first full week and the end of the full moon, all at the same time.
Wow. Can you take much more? This is the Exiles. He's Bill Perfita, and I'm Kevin Gallagher, and we're so glad to have you watching today.
Indeed, indeed. Make sure you tell your friends. You can see us all over South Louisiana. We are open air in Baton Rouge, KPBN TV, as well as on Cox. Cable 133 and digital 1013, but we're on ATT Uverse, we're on Allen Cable, we're on Cox Lafayette, we're on Cox, the entire region of New Orleans, the entire region of river parishes. So there is no reason.
There's no escaping us.
Why your friends and relatives who live in these godforsaken places should not
Stop.
should not enjoy our company. Ever been to Vacherie?
Yeah, Vacherie's a lovely little town.
Went there once. It was closed.
It's a lovely little town.
It is. It's pretty.
You know, they can say what they want about the great speed traps of Louisiana. Most of them are quite pretty little towns.
Yeah, and then they can say what they want, but I can't understand it. They talk funny there.
The great speed traps of... They ought to make a book. The Great Speed Traps of Louisiana.
Hard to top crotch
Do I sound
springs.
like somebody who has been caught in the Golden Meadow?
Whoa, yeah.
Boy, did I get caught. Well, it was an expensive lesson learned in Golden Meadow.
But we are very glad to have you with us. We are very glad that the storm impacts were somewhat minimal.
Yeah, everybody okay, right? Y'all good?
Some of our friends in Jefferson Parish got some water, and hopefully that receded quickly, and you were able to muck things out without too much damage to your homes.
Yeah. Now, for my part, a few dead branches blew out of the trees. But I mean, that was it. Was the dead branches that blew out of the trees.
Yeah, I didn't have as much as we had during those April storms.
I don't think we got in my neighborhood, I don't think we got a gust more than about 40 miles an hour. It just wasn't that blustery at all in my neighborhood.
We had a couple good ones, but it didn't take anything down. So hopefully you all fared as well as we did. There's a lot of talk with the upheaval in our country about defunding police forces. And Kevin's been thinking about this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And now Kevin has something to say that may, in fact, work for all of us.
Well, it's a lesson learned from 1951, a great film classic. I'm going to read to you the words of Michael Rennie as Klaatu from The Day the Earth Stood Still. This is his final address to the people of Earth. It goes like this. I am leaving soon, and you'll forgive me if I speak bluntly. The universe grows smaller every day, and the threat of aggression by any group anywhere can no longer be tolerated. There must be security for all, or no one is secure. Now, this does not mean giving up any freedom to act only the freedom to act irresponsibly. Your ancestors knew this when they made laws to govern themselves, and they hired policemen to enforce them. We, of the other planets, have long accepted this principle. We have an organization for the mutual protection of all planets and for the complete elimination of aggression. The test of any such higher authority is, of course, the police that supports it. For our policemen, we created this race of robots. Their function is to patrol, and he points at the 9-foot robot behind him. Their function is to patrol the planets in spaceships like this one and preserve the peace. In matters of aggression, we have given them absolute power over us. This power cannot be revoked. At the first sign of violence, they act automatically against the aggressor. The penalty for provoking their action is too terrible to risk. The result is we live in peace without arms or armies, secure in the knowledge that we are free from aggression and war, free to pursue more profitable enterprises. Now, we do not pretend to achieve perfection, but we do have a system, and it works. We have a system here, Bill, and it doesn't.
No. Well, there's too many people pulling at all the threads, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But that was written in 1951. So that is 68 years ago. And the screenwriter was a fellow named Harry Bates. Is that correct?
Harry Bates wrote the original story. Edmund North wrote the screenplay.
Yeah, I imagine Harry Bates had some problems when he was in finishing school. Master Bates, do you have something to share with us? Wait for a moment, and I will. But anyway.
Now, someone watching is probably thinking, Kevin, are you saying that the police should have absolute power over us? No, I'm just quoting to you a system that another civilization says works. Now, What was the catalyst that triggered this entire upheaval in America? George Floyd.
Yeah, the potential. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the movie.
No, I'm talking about
George,
what we're going through right now.
George Floyd was killed in the street by a rogue cop.
I don't think anybody disagrees with that. George Floyd was killed in the street by a rogue cop. And he had a rookie with him that would not question the authority of the rogue cop. And anybody in the police force will tell you when you're a rookie and you're in training, you don't question your training
But he
officer.
had two others that were experienced officers that didn't intervene.
True. So all 4 men, now, all 4 men are under arrest. All 4 men have been charged. As far as I know, none of the 4 men have made bail. Officer Knee on the Throat, his bail is so high, I don't think he's going to make bail.
$1.5 million, right?
$1.25 million is the new bail. So what we're going to talk about when we return from break is, so we've taken care of these 4 officers. What now? What now? We're going to take a break. Exiles TV will be right back.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Marty giggling at me. Welcome back to Exiles TV. What, I'm a clown? Like I amuse you?
No, they tell me it's the last spot when it's over with.
Thanks, guys. Nothing gets by you.
Could be worse, Marty. It could be your live go now.
Hurry.
I love live television. This is live television, by the way.
A moment ago, Kevin read the speech from the end of the Earth, the day the Earth stood still. And it's about intergalactic law and order, and it talks about how everybody agreed to a standard of behavior, and the robot police enforce it immediately if you have aggressive behavior, which is beyond the agreement. Now, obviously that's science fiction, and I don't think we're ever going to have robot police. At least I hope not. Because I am in deep, deep trouble if we do.
But there is a line that I think applies to police and policing today. He says there must be security for all or no one is secure. Now, this does not mean giving up any freedom except the freedom to act irresponsibly.
Well, and there we have it. And, you know, it's a rhetorical question, and I probably shouldn't even ask it because it's going to seem trite. But when did we come off the rails in this nation where we didn't have at least some sort of an agreement, a social compact, as it were, to act civilly with one another and expect that because we act civilly with one another, our police, when they need to be involved, will act civilly, our courts will act civilly and with justice in mind, our families will act civilly, even though they want to protect their progeny or their spouses, that everybody had a civil discourse as a very important part of their moral fiber. And we really just don't see that anymore. We have way too much confrontation. I understand why people are demonstrating. I get it. And I support their right to do so. But I am looking at the videotape on the news every night, just like you are probably, and I see people that are deeply hurt, deeply moved by what happened to George Floyd and what has happened many, many times in our history and is patently unacceptable and wrong. And I see their emotion. And I see when somebody in authority comes up to them, like these many police chiefs have, and said, "We are here to support you. We are with you. May I walk with you. May I pray with you." And you see that those people have the social compact. Then later, usually in the same news piece, you see the people that don't understand anything like a social compact, that they are simply there because it gives them an opportunity to be hostile and aggressive. Oh, and by the way, most of the ones I've seen have been very, very Caucasian, that want to be out there yelling and screaming and throwing haymakers and throwing things through windows. Most of those to this point have been very, very Caucasian. Mm-hmm. But the point is, the social compact is lost. And now, don't you think, Kevin, the real job is to try to find a way to structure it and get it back?
If we can, I mean, if that's at all possible. But, you know, we've got this wave of idiocy that's going across the nation. Minneapolis, I've read that their city council is heavily considering dissolving their police force.
Yeah.
I just looking at that television. We have television monitors all around the room. Just looking when there's people say, defund Phoenix police. Phoenix. Why do we need to defund the Phoenix police? What have they done?
Well, they have their own problems. They are the fifth largest city in the country, quite by accident.
It's difficult to have a police force without having a problem here and there. We've talked with Pat Englade, the former chief, about this here in Baton Rouge. He fired a lot of officers when he discovered that there were problems. It's difficult to have any kind of a policing force without some guys that shouldn't be on it.
And by the way, Chief Murphy Paul will be joining us, but Pat Englade did point out to Kevin and I during our podcast the other day that it's an astonishingly low number of use of force complaints against the Baton Rouge Police Department. Because when he said, how many use of force complaints do you think we've had in the last 2 years, is what he said. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking 300-400, because a lot of these are spurious. A lot of people will complain just because the officer put them in the back of a car.
Right. He handled me a little roughly.
Yeah. It was only 87. Now, they are policing an area of 270,000 people. That is a very low number, and that's something to be proud of. But I'll bet you, if we were to ask Chief Paul, he'd want it to be zero, which is the right attitude.
Of course he'd want it to be zero.
But how do you do this without handicapping those who have to go through that door at night to protect you? How do you do this without tying their hands? And how do you keep people who are at risk of being suspected of something from having their hands tied just because? Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. And my, of course, question immediately for the cities that are seriously considering this is, so we do this, then who serves? Who protects?
Well, it reminds me of a bumper sticker I used to see when I was in college. If you don't like the cops, the next time you need help, call a hippie.
Yeah, good luck with that.
And, you know, the Minneapolis City Council is really a bunch of very, very liberal-minded folks that, you know, want all the good things for their area that their ideas can give. But they have known for years that they have had a problem at MPD, and they've looked the other way. These are the people that I like to call limousine liberals.
Okay, so if that's the deal, you don't dissolve the police, you rebuild the police.
Well, and they're not going to dissolve it because they don't have the authority to do that, and they damn well know that. They're posturing. But again, I think what we have in this country, in a lot of cities, is we have a lot of people that don't understand both sides of the argument and really don't want to meet in the middle to do anything about it. But as I said a few minutes ago, we have a very low number of use of force complaints in the city of Baton Rouge, which is a very good thing. We're going to talk a little bit about that with our chief of police, Murphy Paul, when we come back on Exiles TV. Stick around. Hi, Chief.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis. Not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
State Treasurer John Schroeder, encouraging you to visit latreasury.com to search for your unclaimed property money. During this pandemic, we've returned money to businesses, local governments, and people across Louisiana.
New Orleans Habitat for Humanity found unclaimed property with the Louisiana Treasury.
Audubon Nature Institute has unclaimed property.
I found unclaimed property with the Louisiana Department of Treasury.
We still have over $800 million. This is your money. Claim it.
Hey, welcome back. Exiles TV, Bill Profito over there, Kevin Gallagher right here. We were talking about this seemingly nationwide crisis now where more and more people are demonstrating saying, defund the police. It's like they want to blame police in general for what happened in Minneapolis. And I'm sorry, I just think that's wrong-headed. We invited the chief of police of Baton Rouge, Murphy Paul, to join us. And we thank you so much for your time. Man,
thank you for having me.
The world is calm in our little part of the world, which is a good thing.
That is a blessing.
Now we've had COVID.
Yeah.
We have had some very peaceful demonstrations. We had a tropical storm that could have been bad and wasn't, and that's just like in the last 25 days.
Yeah.
Urban policing is a whole different matter these days, isn't it?
Well, it's challenging because we have to prepare differently for each one of those threats or potential threats. Obviously, the COVID-19 crisis that we're still under, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Requires a certain law enforcement response. And then when we saw what's going on all around the country with protests and marches and in some cities riots, we had to prepare for the potential for that. But we were concerned but not worried when it came to that. However, we still had to prepare. And then the storm, this weekend we had to transition from that to storm preparations. And in the midst of all of that, we also lost one of our heroes, Lieutenant Hutto, and one of our heroes is still recovering from his injuries at home. So keep him in your prayers, and that creates a lot of anxiety, that creates a lot of stress. But guess what? We still have to police.
I wanted to ask you this directly. A lot of your guys are very good at giving us information when we need it, but
yeah.
As my uncle Gasparo used to say, if you want a good haircut, you go to the head barber.
All right.
I
remember I used to have that problem. Right.
Is there any jurisdiction on earth that you know of where putting a knee on a cuffed man's neck is a proper procedure for police officers?
Well, I am not intimately familiar with that, but I have never seen anything like that in law enforcement in my 28 law enforcement career. We do not train like that here in the Baton Rouge Police Department. That is not allowed. Chokeholds are not allowed. There's so many things that's wrong about what we witnessed on that video. But when you look at that video and how it's shocking to the conscious, and I haven't spoke with any law enforcement official, any police officer that didn't say that was wrong in every sense. But I think it's a little deeper than that as a chief of police. Because you often get questions, what if? It took me a couple of days before I responded to it. And I sent an email, a letter, an email to all the chiefs of police. You got over 300 chiefs of police in the state of Louisiana. And I talked to the executive director of the Louisiana Chiefs of Police Association and explained to him that I wanted to send a letter out, and would that be okay? So I sent a letter to all the chiefs asking them to join me as I condemned what I saw on that video and why, in law enforcement, that should not be accepted, and we all should demonstrate that leadership and condemning it. And some came out, some spoke about it. I immediately after that released my statement about it. But look, it's deeper than that. I would like to think that in those circumstances that any police officer here or wherever know that there's consequences to that behavior. So they wouldn't even think about doing anything like that. It's hurtful, it's pain, it's agitated a lot of scars, not only in this community, but communities I thought initially all across America, but now we're seeing all across the world. I mean, there are protests in so many different countries because of an incident that happened in Minnesota.
One guy changed the course of history immediately.
Yeah. And made bad guys out of police officers everywhere.
That was the thing that has been said to me most often. Immediately after, I can't believe he did that. That is wrong. That is deliberate. He should go to jail. Immediately after that, I have been told at least 20 times. Now, every one of our police officers has to hesitate before they go through a door, before they take somebody out of a car, because they do not want to be perceived as being like that guy.
Well, I think that's why our training is so important. I would hope that, and I believe that our police officers are smart enough or are trained enough to understand that we still have to do our job. We're still going to be the professionals that we are, because the conduct that we witnessed in that video is not normal. And We can talk about cultural issues that may have gone into play in that city for that guy to think that that was okay after being told numerous times, not only by the guy who's dying, but also by innocent bystanders who are standing there and filming it. And at no point did it even register.
And he looked like he was in a trance.
Well, it's shocking. It's shocking. But what I saw was a person who is morally bankrupt. His actions were inhumane to treat another human being that way. And I think that's why the response that you see right now across the world, to watch that video, and it was long,
but
almost
Chief,
9 minutes.
Isn't it wrong-headed to blame police officers everywhere for what we saw in the streets of Milwaukee? Or is there some justification in painting all cops with the same broad brush?
Well, I think that, we see that happens, right, sometimes. But I think that if you sit down and you really have conversations about this, I still think most people still understand the value of law enforcement and police. When we have these courageous conversations in our community that we've been doing since 2016. But I think one of the things that we have to be conscious of is there's a lot of hurt and pain going on right now, a lot of frustration. And we have to be respectful of that grievance process and the healing that goes on in the grievance process. It's a process. And I don't think we can put a timeline on other people's pain. I don't think we can put a timeline on other people's hurt. So we have to be respectful of it in that let's sit down and listen. And let's have these conversations about why are we seeing what we're seeing? Why was the outrage at the level that it is? And we can't ignore it. There is something there underlying that has been going on in these communities for so long. So now is the time is to have honest dialogue, conversations about why do you feel this way, and let's start talking about solutions and what we can do collectively as a community to address those concerns and move on.
Now, before you came on, Bill mentioned that, and we got this data from former chief, but over a 2-year period, Baton Rouge had remarkably few excessive force complaints, which I think is a very good thing to talk about. What's being done differently here?
So I think right now, and I just looked at the data the other day. I apologize, I don't have the direct numbers, but we know use of force incidents are down in the city of Baton Rouge. Complaints are down in Baton Rouge. But I think that, look, when the mayor came in, and I did the research, and we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the things we did today at a press conference, when she began the process of reform in the Baton Rouge Police Department, I think that was the first start. Obviously, we don't want what happened in 2016 to ever happen here again. But that reform started before I got here. I was blessed to come in, with the body camera, with the changing of our policy. Some of the same things that you witnessed on that video, our policy don't allow us to do that here, and there will be consequences to that behavior. So there's the training piece, and then there's the policy piece, so you can hold an officer accountable if he demonstrates that type of behavior. So I think that we started that, but I also think we started the collective healing in our community. When we began to sit down and have conversations with business leaders, faith-based leaders, organizations, and tell us how we police, how does it impact you? And we began to listen to their concerns and engage them in the process as a partner and not an adversary. We began to identify solutions. I can tell you that there were community meetings where the mayor had at our districts where there was somebody in that audience who said something that was concerning. I took that information, sat down with my senior staff and say, hey, this is what they said. Are we doing this? Can we fix it? Does it compromise officer safety? Can we still police with these changes? And the answer was yes. So those conversations that the mayor had at the district, that we had with our chief advisory council, turned into conversations with me that turned into policy changes that meet the community expectations. And I really think that's really what it's about, engaging them in the process. Because here's the reality. There's a small group of people in this city that's responsible for a majority of the crime. There are micro areas, small blocks, 100 blocks, repeat addresses, where we spend a lot of energy, a lot of calls for service. Well, we need to focus on that. But we cannot go into communities treating everybody in that community as if they are part of the problem. They want the crime out more than we do. You know why?
Yeah,
They live there.
Because they live it every day.
But you know,
so we have to engage
These
them
people are
with
victims.
that approach. Absolutely.
We got a break coming up, and I want to get into a little bit more about how you change mindsets as well as emotions.
Yeah.
And this did not happen in Baton Rouge, but I remember walking down the street in Chicago. I was in college, and car comes to a screeching, grinding halt. Two detectives come out. They identify themselves.
Yeah.
They grab this guy. They put him up against a bus stop. And he says, I didn't do it. I did not do that. And he said, yeah, but you've probably done something.
You've probably done something.
That's an attitude that's a problem.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's wrong. Obviously,
Now,
we should be
this was
policing
40
like
years
that.
ago,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think it still persists a little bit today in some places.
Well, look, that's why the de-escalation training that we have is important. Our procedural justice training that we're now given in the police department that talk about issues like that. We talk about ethical policing, which are all part of our training curriculum for every police officer that comes through now. And we're also inserting those training into our annual in-service training, where we're having these conversations about what we're hearing in the community and how can we be better at our craft. Look, every business in America changes. All right, I can talk about businesses that didn't change and find themselves bankrupted, and I can show you those businesses that change every chance we get. I have this iPhone. We're probably on version 11 or something. They change this every year to be successful. So we live in an ever-changing environment. So when we hear police reform, there should be absolutely nothing negative about that word or that term. All it means is change, to make better. That's what reform means. So why are we frowning upon things that make us better as an organization?
Well, in this community, it's always meant we're going to tear something apart, unfortunately. We've got a break on the way. We're going to give you some commercial messages. We will return with Chief Murphy Paul on Exiles TV. Stick around.
That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent.
Depend on us for service, for selection, for price.
Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hello, Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Very glad to have you with us on this Tuesday morning. We're talking about cops. We're talking about justice. We're talking about training. We're talking about standards. Chief Murphy Paul from the Baton Rouge Police Department is gracious enough to be with us in the studio. He's going to have a big press conference today. I'm not going to ask you to reveal what you're going to say in that because I don't want to take your thunder. But you just had a couple good statistics for us to talk about what it's like here in terms of use of force.
Yeah, so for the last consecutive years, we've maintained a 36.7 decrease in cases of police misconduct. And when we look at our use of force incidents, they're also down by 23% over the last 2 years. So we are seeing some success in that. I think part of that is our training and how we police a little different, but also our body cameras. You know, body cameras,
accountability.
Absolutely, accountability. Our early warning system, which has been a pretty good, and that is where we actually, it was in existence before, but we, I think it was relaxed over the years, some of those standards, and it is designed to identify those officers who may not necessarily be responding to training. There are certain triggers that go off, use of force incidents, complaints, accidents, abusive leave, lawsuits. Any combination of those incidents requires a supervisory review. That entire program is headed through the supervision of our Internal Affairs Division. I get those reports, and in fact, we actually have an example where that process actually played out, and I terminated a young man because of that, and he's appealing that, and it goes before the Civil Service on June 18th, in a couple of weeks, and we're going to be hearing that. But I believe that is a classic example of how the system works. We just have to be bold enough and display that leadership that, you know, when there's certain conduct that we see that is not consistent with our training, that we just have to say, you know what, maybe you should consider another career choice. There's nothing bad about that. Everybody cannot be a police officer. And with all the systems that are in place, whether it's our recruiting, the training, the FTO program, each one of those stages, we lose applicants, from our psychological exam to our voice stress test, similar to a polygraph. Each one of those stages, from our physical assessment, we lose.
People don't make the cut.
Absolutely. All the way through the academy. some don't make the cut. To our FTO program, some don't make the cut. So there is processes in place, but it's not a perfect system. But when we identify those individuals in our early warning program, through our supervision, sometimes we have to have those courageous conversations and say, look, maybe this career isn't for you. Maybe you don't have the temperament. Maybe there are biases that are affecting how you police in our city. And unless we really have these conversations and address them, look, there are good people who make bad decisions and make mistakes sometimes.
By the way, I want to clarify, for those of you who don't know, FTO means Field Training Officer. That is the experienced officer that goes out with a rookie for, what is it, 3 months, something like that?
Yep.
And keeps an eye on them and makes sure that they know what they're doing and they're not dangerous to themselves or to others.
Yes, sir.
In BRPD, if you've got a rookie who is out with an FTO, and he or she sees something that they don't like, are they free to speak up about that?
Actually, policy requires them to do that.
Really? Even though they're the rookie?
Absolutely. We actually have a mandate that's actually in our policy. You are required, when you see another officer doing something wrong or using excessive force, to intervene.
Actually, I was privy to I was watching a conversation going on social media the other day, and someone asked rather sarcastically, well, what do you think the rookie should have done? Rushed over and pushed Derek Chauvin off of that man and said, get off his neck?
Yeah.
It's like, yes. Yes. That's absolutely what he should have done. You know, he should get off the man's neck. I mean, we're to serve and protect. That man wasn't being protected.
Well, and they certainly weren't serving their community. Look what's happened there since all this.
Yeah, he would have been a hero, right, had he done that.
Well, you know, and the big fear is if I'm supposed to have Kevin's back and I see Kevin stepping over a line and I intervene, and I think this is more psychological than real. Now Kevin figures he can never trust me, and I can figure that Kevin's never going to trust me again. You hear that a lot in the military. You hear that a lot in police forces. Where I would think, truthfully, in a modern police force that's got more than 50 people, it would be, you did the right thing, you don't have to ride with this guy again.
We have examples of that, where we've had intervention. Some were displayed before the media last year. So we've had incidents like that where police officers have stepped in and corrected a behavior by a fellow officer. And it is a mandate, but we do have examples where our police officers did the right thing.
How many sworn officers in BRPD now, Chief?
Ooh, so we have 60 vacancies. So
yeah, I know.
That's 60, so that's 60 minus, we got 700 positions, minus 60, so that's what, 700, that's 620?
But see, now I would imagine that current events is
640, I'm sorry.
Current events is going to hurt your recruiting efforts.
Well, you know, I look at that. I hope not. I still think that there are individuals in this community. With this academy, we're at 640. 640 with this current academy that started June 1st. So I believe we still have young people in our community who want to serve. You know, we last year we had the lowest turnover ratio that we've had in 6 years.
That's good.
And that was positive. So how this is going to impact recruiting still remains to be seen. We're dealing in unprecedented times right now. But I still believe in my heart that we still have people, even though all this is going on, that still want to serve. I've heard that before. Nobody wants to be a police. No, well, you know what? Our recruiting efforts are still going okay. We got 29 highly motivated young cadets in our academy right now, trainees. We're going to be pushing forward to address those 60 vacancies with the next one. Hopefully we'll get that money in the budget, in that $25 million, $23 million shortfall that I was looking at last I looked in city budget will still allow us to have an academy class. But I don't believe that. I think we're still going to find young, motivated citizens in our community who want to serve. And I think that this here may even ignite some of them to want to be that change agent even more. Right?
Let's hope so. I think that's a good thought.
I do. I believe, and that's what we tell them. Okay, you want change, then you come and be one of our officers, and you can become that change agent. You know, we have a lot of strategies that we're going to be changing with our recruiting. But I don't believe that. I think there's a lot of people in our community, young folks, who want to serve.
Good.
And going to be step up to the plate.
You know, you are the executive. You're the tip of the spear, as it were. And if you have a full complement, if you have 700 sworn officers, it would be the same as if I had 700 heart surgeons at a convention.
Right.
You're going to have 5 or 6% of that 700 that are either not real good at what they do or also have attitudes. And some of them are going to have racial attitudes. And there are some people you just can't fix. But how do you deal with somebody in your department who is a good man or a good woman, and they don't mean to be insulting or offensive or racist because they don't know that they're presenting this vibe or making these remarks? How do you deal with that?
Well, look, we don't know what's in someone's heart, right? We don't know what was in that man's heart. We just know what we witnessed was morally bankrupt behavior. And we don't know. But what we do know is the behavior. And as a leader in our position, you know, we have training in place where we have these conversations about what our expectations are. But at the end of the day, we have policies in place, we have training in place, and they're designed to guide your behavior, how you respond in specific situations, how we expect you to react to certain incidents. And when we have officers that are not in compliance with those policies, with that training, then we have to hold them accountable. And you hold them accountable through discipline. You hold them accountable by saying, look, here are systems we have in place to say that behavior is not in alignment with our values, with our training. And in most cases, you're going to address that through mentoring, through coaching, through training, and in some cases, discipline, in some cases, termination, which is the worst form of discipline. But I think that if we have that and we focus on a behavior like we have been doing in the Baton Rouge Police Department, you begin to change culture. Look, culture is directly tied to attitude, right? How I see the people I serve, how I see my job. But I think what research shows us is that if we focus on the behavior and we say there are consequences to that behavior if you don't do it the right way, then there's a large, vast majority are going to comply and we're going to move forward. And then there's that small group that you talked about that may be defiant or may not want to change it, and they find themselves looking for another job or continuing to be disciplined. But here's what happens. When we change behavior, attitudes soon follow. And when we change attitudes, that's when we affect culture.
Well, I know you've got a press conference to go to, and I don't want to make you late for it. But real quick, what time? Because I'm sure it'll be televised. What time are you gonna go? And as we say about governmental, what time are you really going to go?
Yeah, I think it's 3:30. 3:30 at our Baton Rouge headquarters. We're going to do it at our real-time crime center. Right there in Baton Rouge, and we're just going to talk about the things that we have already done, but just to let the community know, look, we're still listening with an open heart, and there's some more changes that we're going to talk about that we're going to be moving forward with when it comes to change in the Baton Rouge Police Department. But here's what I present. We're blessed. A lot of the things that you see are not happening here in other communities. And I believe it's because we've been putting the work in, and that collective healing has already started. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's always room for improvement, but I like the relationship that we have. We're listening, and we're going to continue.
Well, we mourn for the officers that have lost their lives since this thing came up. One officer down in St. Louis, another officer murdered in Buffalo, New York.
Indianapolis.
Yes.
This is,
it's uncalled for.
Unfortunately, violence sometimes begets more violence, and it's not a good thing.
No, we don't accept that. You know, we have these conversations. We try to keep our officers motivated. You know, one of the things we don't talk about when this happened, it takes our guys back to 2016.
Yeah,
you know, it really does.
And that's a bad place to be, particularly for officers and their families. We support you, and we're glad you're here. And of course, as you initiate these changes, we're going to invite you back.
Absolutely.
And bring your guys with you. We're always proud to see them.
We love communicating and letting you know what's going on in the department. And lift this community up in your prayers. It's not over right now, but we will get through this as a united community through prayer and love.
I like it. Baton Rouge Police Chief Murphy Paul, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Jim.
And come back and see us.
Time for a break. This is Exiles TV. Stick around.
Can't shake hands, but we can.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Fruget Jr., and I am a general dentist at Fruget Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Clarence Bug Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bug Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. So glad to have you with us. Thanks to Chief Murphy Paul and the cadre of officers from BRPD who came by and said hello. Some of our dear friends like Gino McNeely and Don Coppola with the chief. They've got
good people.
Big press conference today. So you told me that you've taken phase 2 by the horns. And you all went out to your first restaurant meal this weekend.
Yes.
Well, let's give them a plug if they did a good job.
Well, Fleming's always does. I mean, does Fleming's ever have a bad night? I know there are Fleming's in a lot of cities across the USA, but the one here in Baton Rouge is top notch. It's I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5
there
stars.
You go.
I just love the place. They did a good job with the social distancing aspect because they were only allowed 50% capacity. They were very upfront. We walked up, said, we got a 6 top. And she said, can you wait 30 minutes? I said, yep. So we just...
6 of you?
Yep.
Wow.
We were observing a birthday. It's our dear friends and cousins, and they're 17-year-old twins.
Oh.
And so the purpose was to wish the twins a happy birthday. But we got it in our heads to go to Fleming's and didn't mind that 30-minute wait one bit. It was worth every bit of it. They were very upfront about it, and they were right on time.
Well, their service is always good.
Tremendous.
We did
the
a
food
little
top
thing.
notch.
Yeah, we did a little thing this weekend at Bistro Barone's.
I love those 2 restaurants.
Yeah, the one on Perkins is where we went, and you really have to spend some time there to appreciate everything they've got in their menu. But they had they had tables that were separating the tables where you could sit. The service was terrific. They've added some things to their wine list. We had some really good wines, but had a really nice dinner. It's nice to be going out again.
But as nice as it is, phase 2 needs to go. If we can have 20-somethings elbow to elbow out in the streets, we can open up our restaurants again. I'm sorry. It's just ridiculous.
The 20-somethings...
There can't be a double standard for those of us that obey the law and those of us that don't.
The 20-somethings out in the street, do we really care if,
Well, COVID's not killing 20-somethings, so why worry about them at all?
But there's always time.
To me, they're completely marginalized. And I'm going to say something possibly controversial. Everywhere I've looked, the trouble didn't start until the skinny white kids in skinny jeans showed up.
Yeah.
And they said, well, black people looting. Well, I've seen plenty of video of white people looting.
Oh, yeah.
And where people are dirt poor, you can't expect them, once someone has smashed the glass, to not go inside and help themselves. I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying that's what's going to happen where people are dirt poor.
But you know what I think, Kevin? Again, this is totally unscientific. It is speculation on my part. But I do remember this from when I was of that age and we had all the anti-war protests going on, is that you have some of these people that want to incite or lead or rile people up, and you've got a group mentality that seems to fall in lockstep very, very quickly. And I do believe, during the 60s, we always used to laugh at outside agitators. From watching this over the last
outside
8 days,
agitators are the problem.
I think they exist, and I think they are a problem.
Outside agitators are the problem.
And as you put it, the very, very hip Caucasian kids coming in seem to take what is a peaceful and reflective demonstration and turn it into mayhem because they know that group psychology and they know what will happen. And that's a damn shame if you think about it.
Well, they're anarchists. And that's all they are, is anarchists. They can call themselves Antifa. When you're anti-fascist, you don't behave like a fascist. So obviously they don't even understand what their name means. They are anarchists. They ought to just say what they are. They don't want any government. They don't want any law and order. They want to be free to do whatever they want, whenever they want, except when things don't go well for them. And then they want the police to come in and protect them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's an age-old story. It really and truly is. But anyway, back to phase 2 and getting out and about and doing things. Now, the one thing I noticed, and I don't know if this is something you saw at Fleming's, it's at Bistro Barone's. They could have held more people. And I am hoping...
To make 50%? They could have held more people?
I'm hoping that people will get back in the swing.
No, Fleming's last Saturday...
going out to restaurants.
Fleming's last Saturday night was pretty solidly. They had hit their capacity, and they were monitoring their capacity pretty well.
Well, they
had a loaded house for, 50% loaded house.
But I'd like to see particularly our local restaurants use every table that they can right now and have the community show them that, we're supporting you, we're coming back.
Yep, get out there and support those restaurants.
Although this weekend, everybody's waiting for that storm. I think a lot of people were making their storm preps on Saturday evening and all that type of thing, and probably didn't want to go out.
We're going to be back in just moments with Hour 2 of Exiles TV.
Bellelo's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent.
Depend on us for service, for selection, for price.
Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bellelo's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita. He's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Welcome back. Hour 2, Exiles TV. Glad to have you with us, and thank you so much for watching. Now, if you're just joining us, why, you missed a fascinating conversation with Baton Rouge Police Chief Murphy Paul. We talked about excessive use of force and policing and the sentiment, the anti-police sentiment going around the nation right now. You can view that later tonight, 10 p.m. on the rebroadcast, or later this evening, you'll be able to also go and view it on demand on YouTube.
And there is a big press conference this afternoon at 3:30. That will be covered live, I'm sure, by a lot of television stations, and you will be able to see him there as well. But do watch our replay. There may be something you missed. And we welcome the State Treasurer, John Schroeder, to our show for an unclaimed property segment. And also, he is running spots during our show to remind you
Get that unclaimed property.
Get your unclaimed property. But he also sent out a press release earlier, and Kevin has it.
Yeah, this just came in just a short while ago while we were talking to Chief Paul. State Treasurer John Schroeder and state business leaders gathered today to urge the governor to free up $300 million for small businesses across Louisiana by signing Senate Bill 189 into law. Now, 189 has passed the legislative process, and now the question is, will he or won't he in some of these bills? Senate Bill 189 would create a business grant program with a portion of the federal coronavirus relief package. Of the $300 million in grants, $40 million would go to businesses owned by minorities, women, and veterans. The Louisiana Department of Treasury would administer the program. Small businesses are an economic engine, and they're running out of gas. They support nearly 1 million jobs in Louisiana. If we allow those jobs to disappear, our economy will collapse. It is simple as that. The words of State Treasurer John Schroeder. He goes on to say, I come from a small business background. I know exactly what these small businesses are experiencing. They are dying on the vine. We've seen several that won't be back here in the Baton Rouge area alone. Only a fraction of businesses in Louisiana receive Paycheck Protection Program loans. That's why the legislature created this grant program. We are working hard on building the program, and we look forward to working with the administration to deliver this financial relief to small businesses. Yeah. There are a number of small businesses out there who, the Payroll Protection Act was great, but some small businesses operate in such a way as that their employees, if you will, aren't W-2 payrolled employees. Many people elect to operate as a 1099 contract employee, get all their money, and then worry about paying their own taxes down the road. And they also, sometimes they opt to, I don't need your benefits package, I'll just take my money.
Well, and again, you also had a lot of people got that very early on, and you had to bring a certain percentage of your employees, I think it was 60%, back within 6 weeks. Well, the quarantine has lasted longer than that.
8 weeks or it becomes a loan.
So it had problems. But anyway, this is a good bill, and I hope the governor will sign it if the Senate passes it. Now, you mentioned this morning. I'm sure you will see it all over your local news, no matter what community you're in. I don't know how in the hell this happened, but I drove by it on the way to the studio this morning. About 8 a.m., one of these really cool Honda small SUVs, I think it's the CR-V is their model, managed to get on top the guardrail.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a Honda CR-V.
On Bluebonnet Boulevard near the I-10 East exit ramp. Now, this thing I'm not talking up against it. I'm talking perched on top of the concrete guardrail. A little more speed, and I think he or she would have tumbled into Ward's Creek, which would have been very, very bad.
Yeah, but it's like, how do you? The vehicle had to have gotten some air. How? What did it do? Did it drive up literally just drive up the side of the guardrail and then
I think the big question that everybody has had is how in the hell did he do this or she do this? But I mean, if you the advocate's got photos where the right side of the car is completely on the ground on the opposite side of the guardrail, and the left quarter of the car, its tires are over on the lane, but the metal of the car undercarriage is sitting on top of the guardrail. Now, they had to close the I-10 East exit ramp at rush hour because of this buffoon. And I believe that they are still trying to figure out how they can lift this thing off that guardrail. They got two of those heavy lift wreckers out there.
They're going to have to pick this vehicle up. They're going to need a crane.
Now, what should the penalty be for this driver?
I honestly don't know that there'll be any penalty for the driver other than maybe a citation for failure to maintain control, reckless operation.
Now, see, this should be a Class 2 violation. The visor should come up and just vaporize them.
It's too horrible to even contemplate.
That's right. Well, I mean, you saw what happened in the movie, right? The visor came up very slowly.
Yep.
And Class 2 vaporized.
Next thing you know, you're a pile of dust.
I mean, every time I think that in our wonderful little community, nobody is this stupid, I see pictures of it in front of me in living color.
I just am wondering about speed. How fast do you have to be going to get that kind of air in that light of a vehicle?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a light vehicle. I mean, that's part of it, but goodness gracious.
Well, I mean, I wonder if he managed to run up the sloped side of that barrier. I pass it, 20 times a week, but I've never noticed where it's a right angle or whether it's an angle to the actual guardrail.
Like that. Crazy. But that gets our Crappy Driver of the Week award, I'm saying.
Well, and again, how many people did this buffoon inconvenience this morning? I'm telling you, the Class 2 visor comes up, you see the flash of light, and you will do this no more.
Got to correct you, though. That was Gort.
Well, that was Gort.
Gort was the giant robot.
Gort, yeah.
Still one of my favorite films of all
Class 2
time.
was Michael Rennie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. We got lots more to come in hour 2 here. Exiles TV. Thanks for being with us.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
That's right, the Clarence Buggs Show is back. Along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together. South Louisiana's talk team. And it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon right here on the Pelican.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
That helps.
Wow, we're back and it's Exiles TV. Sorry you caught me reading news. I'm trying to stay abreast of things going on.
Do you?
Well, at least most of the time.
I know you do.
There are times, though, good God, especially with recent history, where I just want to unplug from media all
We've got all these devices in front of us.
An incoming LSU freshman being targeted on social media for allegedly posting a video using a racial slur. The video of the incoming freshman student at LSU posted on social media says he hates people
what a bonehead
who are darker complected than he. Now, first of all, I thought we had reached a point in America where pretty much even the stupidest of us understood that there are certain things that's just not. I don't care. First Amendment, yes, we have First Amendment rights to say what we want to say. And as Clarence Buggs likes to say, you have a right to be an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that we had all become smarter than this, especially today's young people who are supposed to be smarter than all we old farts, aren't they? They all think they are. But here's this, I can only imagine the GPA of the incoming freshman who posts to social media that he hates people that don't look like him.
Well, did you see him in his video?
No, I haven't seen the video.
He looks...
Is he a mouth breather?
He looks like an egg-sucking, mouth-breathing, chubby,
a moron.
Yeah, that's it, a moron.
A moron.
These people are simple. They're people of the earth.
Look, people get through. And, morons get through and get admitted to LSU all the time. We've got a program that gives you free tuition for being merely mediocre in high school, and you get to go to LSU or another state-run university if you want to, for a C average. A C. But yet, free money. Here's the words of Tamara Nash, a Black Lives Matter advocate here in Baton Rouge. As I am watching all this unfold, I can definitely say it's going to break some trust for some of those students and professors at the institution this fall. Here are the words of the university. This is an official response from the university. It doesn't say who. I'm assuming it's the acting president there?
Yes, the acting president.
Because I don't know if you guys noticed,
Callahan.
but Mr. F. King Alexander is gone, pecan. He's gone.
Do you know the sound he made when he left?
He couldn't leave fast enough to suit me. The official release. We at LSU condemn hate and bigotry in any form. Well, of course, most of us do, including racial remarks. As a state university, however, we are subject to constitutional limitation on ability to take action in response to free speech. Nash says she was expecting a different reaction from the university. What possible other reaction can a state-run university take? It's a stupid thing to say, it's a stupid thing to do, but it is free speech.
Well, and here's the real problem. And by the way, we're going to ask someone who is familiar with the Constitution and laws to join us for our podcast tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. What makes this worse? Oh, by the way, this guy, the guy's name is Drew Dollar.
Drew Dollar.
And he lives in West Monroe, Louisiana.
Well, there are a lot of fine people from West Monroe.
And he ain't one of them.
Look at, you got the Robertson family.
Yeah.
Duck Dynasty, Duck Commander. I mean, them good people.
But here is where I think this one came off the rails in a very bad way. In the initial statement from the president of the university, he was absolutely correct. And that made a lot of people unhappy. You know, just like it made a lot of people unhappy that you couldn't charge this guy in Minneapolis with first-degree murder because it doesn't meet the burden of first-degree murder. A state university must allow speech that is uncomfortable, that is bigoted, that is nasty. There is no law preventing hate speech. Much to the contrary, a lot of people who are screaming.
Ms. Nash said that was hate speech, so it shouldn't have been permitted. It's like there's no law saying hate speech is not permitted.
And in fact, by the way, the Supreme Court of this country affirmed that there is no such thing as unprotected hate speech.
Well, it's a slippery slope if you start legislating.
Here's where they screwed up, in my opinion. As disappointing as it probably was, the interim president should have left it alone. Instead, last night, he put out a release apologizing for his original statement and saying that he wants to take strong action on behalf of the university.
Here's the tweet. We are sorry for our earlier tweet that it did not effectively communicate our core message and consequently alienated our students and friends.
Well, the thing is, he didn't alienate them. The law, which we all must live under, alienated them. But here is the deal. They cannot do anything, but by doing this, saying that he wants to take strong measures, he is lying to these people that are hurt. He is lying to these people that are offended. Many of them of college age themselves, and maybe they don't know the Constitution as well as he should. So has he made it worse by apologizing and basically shining these people on like every white leader 40 years ago used to do? Like Lyndon Baines Johnson used to do? This is reprehensible. I know you don't like it. I know the students don't like it. Hell, I don't like it.
But there it is.
But you made it worse by shining these people on. Shame on you. Shame on you pandering to these people.
Appeasement is very rarely a good tactic for a government or a governmental entity. It's really not wise. If there are rules you have to follow, state the rules you have to follow and leave it at that.
I mean, even the ACLU wrote a very detailed legal essay saying that you must allow bigoted speech at universities because it is constitutionally protected free speech. But Mr. President, I don't know you, but I think you made a serious error. You should have left your original statement saying, I don't like it, but there's nothing we can do alone.
Especially if you wanted that gig full time and not as an interim job.
Well, he doesn't want it full time. He's made that very clear. But,
well, good.
But the fact of the matter is, now you have thrown gasoline on smoldering embers. Because all they're going to remember is you're lying to them. That you said you were going to take action, and you can't, and you know you can't. You have made this problem worse.
Yep. Don't pander, don't appease.
It's awful. You should not have done that.
We're going to take a brief pause. Take care of little business. Exiles TV. We'll be right back.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology, which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Clarence Bugg Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us. Kevin Gallagher over here. I'm Bill Profita, and I guess you know who you are. At least I would hope so. Talking about some of the news of the day, this car up on the guardrail in Bluebonnet has got me just...
Yeah, one person, by the way, was transported to the hospital, so somebody got injured.
For their own protection, I'm sure.
Yeah, so we're going to kill you if we can get you out of that car.
Yeah.
The other thing about this is that the vehicle, we were talking about this in the last break, but the vehicle's right wheels wound up in what is a pedestrian sidewalk across that bridge, across Ward's Creek. So I'm glad nobody was on the bridge.
Well, they didn't say nobody was on the bridge. They said one person was transported.
But they say non-life-threatening injuries. Mm-hmm. What did we say before we came up with that mouthful of gobbledygook for the news?
Minor.
Minor. We just call minor injuries. Non-life-threatening. That's like a double hyphenated phrase.
That's the folks in the media using a $50 word where a 50-cent word would do.
Yeah, we used to just say, take it to the hospital with minor cuts and contusions.
But you know what? I worked in an emergency room. It used to be a relief to parents or spouses when I would walk out or one of the other staff members would walk out and said, his injuries are minor. They'd go, oh, thank God. If you walk out now and you say non-life-threatening, all they hear is the last two words, life-threatening. They don't hear the non part.
Non.
But all this was born, Kevin, out of an enhanced sense of sensitivity. That nobody's injuries are minor, Kevin.
Well, you're
they're
trivializing
injured,
them.
yes, they're not minor. So you have to say moderate, but not life-threatening, or non-life-threatening, which really means minor, or severe. You know, you don't want anybody in critical condition anymore, but you have to say that occasionally.
Sometimes you do.
Yeah. But
severe yet stable condition
Well,
is the
and
one I like.
non-life-
That means they're going to be okay.
non-life-threatening is not very descriptive for your audience.
No, it's.
I mean, he's got a giant gaping bullet hole in his thigh, but it's not going to take his life. It might take his leg. Non-life-threatening. You know, minor, moderate, severe. I think.
Why not tell the truth? You know, with an injury that could cost him a leg.
Well, if I tell somebody you've got minor injuries, what do you think they think? Cuts and bruises, right?
Cuts and bruises, scrapes.
Scrapes.
Yeah.
If I say you have moderate injuries, maybe a broken bone or
Maybe
two.
a broken bone, but you know, you'll survive.
If I say severe,
could be dicey.
When I call Mary Ann and say, "Can I have Kevin's stuff?" You know.
I wrote you into the will already. You could have all my broadcast stuff.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. But non-life-threatening injury. I love the metaphoric way we live our lives. You know,
the way we've developed this use of language where we think we're being more precise, but what we're really doing is dancing around the reality of things.
Well, at Channel 9, and I love most of the folks at Channel 9. You know, Matt and Lauren and Greg and Elizabeth and Liz Coe and Scotty, I really love them. But they've got somebody writing their scripts where everybody is a freaking leader. Instead of saying elected officials in St. Mary Parish say, they say leaders in St. Mary Parish say, well, it's up to the people of St. Mary to decide whether they're leaders or not.
There's only one leader in St. Mary Parish. That would be the parish president.
Well, but he's not a leader. He's the parish president. They shouldn't refer to him as a leader. There are only actually a couple of people you can refer to as leaders.
I suppose dear leader is right out, huh?
Well, that's one. But, I mean, you've got the House majority leader and minority leader. You've got the Senate majority leader and minority leader. And that is their official term. But for some reason, their consultant figures that this somehow brings them closer to the average person by referring to someone as the leader. I think it's ridiculous. And I think it has the exact opposite effect. It's like, I look at that screen, don't you tell me that this toad is a leader, because he ain't my leader.
Well, now you sound like one of those people that didn't vote for the current president of the United States. You're not my president. Well, I got news, he is.
Yeah, he is.
You may hate him, but he kind of is.
You don't have much choice in that. But I mean, this euphemistic speak, non-life-threatening injuries. And I bet you one of the leaders at the hospital told them that. And they were doing that during COVID. Hospital leaders, no, you would say the leadership team or the administration. I'll even give you leadership team. But you know what? Your viewers and listeners get to decide who's a freaking leader and who isn't. You don't get to decide that from behind the anchor desk.
See, I think especially when you're talking like, say, the state legislature, the leaders arise. I mean, you could say that you've got, you know, a party leader or whatever, and yes, but I'm talking about the true leaders in the legislature. They're the ones that arise. And
what would be the opposite side of that coin?
The cowerers. I'm not kidding. There are people in the legislature. There have been people in the legislature. Of course, they're now limited to 12,
All right.
but never filed a significant bill in their entire career.
I will let Lauren get away with the leaders in the morning as long as she also includes the slapdicks.
Is that a technical term, Bill?
That's a technical term.
All right, we're going to take another break. Let's talk about what's going on in the city parish of East Baton Rouge, the most populous parish in the state. Readiness for storms, etc. That's going to be the topic when we talk with Darryl Gissel coming up next on Exiles TV.
Belello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent.
Depend on us for service, for selection, for price.
Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Belello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show is back. Along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together. South Louisiana's talk team. And it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon right here on the Pelican.
State Treasurer John Schroeder, encouraging you to visit latreasury.com to search for your unclaimed property money. During this pandemic, we've returned money to businesses, local governments, and people across Louisiana.
New Orleans Habitat for Humanity found unclaimed property with the Louisiana Treasury.
Audubon Nature Institute has unclaimed property.
I found unclaimed property with the Louisiana Department of Treasury.
We still have over $800 million. This is your money. Claim it.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hey, welcome back. It's Exiles TV. I'm Kevin. He's Bill. And before we get on to our topic, I just want to real quick do an RIP for one of the greats in pop music and soul music, Bonnie Pointer of the Pointer Sisters. They had a string of hits as long as your leg. She died of cardiac arrest over the weekend, 69 years of age.
Oh, that's too young.
Actually, it was not over the weekend. It was early Monday morning, but I was a big Pointer Sisters fan.
Oh, me too.
Just so God rest her.
69.
And keep her.
That is young. That is way too young.
Gentlemen in the center stage, you've been watching us since the program began several weeks back. He's been on a couple of times. This is Darryl Gissel. He is the Chief Administrative Officer of the City Parish of East Baton Rouge, which is the most populous parish in the state. So biggest in that term.
The largest.
So you got a big job.
It's a fun job.
Darryl, good to see you again.
Yeah. Well, we asked you to come on for a couple of reasons, but the big reason is we are now in phase 2 recovery. Mm-hmm. We have talked in the past that East Baton Rouge Parish has largely been very compliant with all the rules and regulations. But what's it look like for the city parish now? Are we starting to get an increase in tax revenues? Are we getting more businesses back opening so that we have more taxpayers out with money in their pockets? What are you all seeing from the financial side of phase 2?
We've actually gotten the sales tax returns for March and April, and it looks like our projections are fairly well on target, that the shortfall is probably about $23 million is what we anticipate. Some of that money will come back from recovery dollars that are going to be allocated from the state. There's a little bit of a battle in the legislature, as you guys know, over who gets that money, whether it goes to municipalities or if part of it's transferred to businesses. Part of the thought is that local municipalities will not be able to won't qualify for all of that money. But what we're seeing is the money's going to be needed by local governments.
What about the feds? Now, are you talking about a pass-through from the feds, or are they going to do something separate?
The feds have given money to the state for certain things that will be allocated back, and then we're still eligible to go to FEMA for other dollars. For example, in the current allocation under the change that the legislature's made, in round one would be eligible for $11 million for the whole parish. Our recovery dollars that we need just for the city parish portion for the general operating fund is $22 million. So I mean, we're short of even what we can get in from the state. And that doesn't include money that would be needed by Zachary, Baker, Central. All of those groups have to file on their own. The $11 million is actually the parish allocation. So again, we can use every dollar we can get from the state.
Now, I'm covering old ground, I think, but sometimes when the state has a budget problem, they do a little fund sweep. And is that within the city parish charter? Can the city parish do that?
No, we can't.
Straight
do
up,
that. We can't do that. We have very tight limitations in terms of what we can and can't do, and we strictly abide by that.
Good.
Our finance team is very rigid in terms of what rules they will let anybody bend. Basically, none.
Mm-hmm.
And we like that.
Well, that's probably the best way to go about
Yes, absolutely.
this. We had some projects that were still under development before phase one, when it was basically the stay-at-home order, and I'm hoping these are coming back online. But the big thing, I guess, we have to worry about is sales tax revenue.
Exactly. And the mayor's enacted a Restart Baton Rouge team, which is led by Jim Bernhardt and Aaron Wesley, who's a vice president at Cox. So they have the business leaders at the table trying to make certain that any impediments that we have to businesses reopening have been erased. We're trying to make sure that we have everything in place to help people get started as quickly as they can.
So is phase two, are there any differences? I know that Orleans Parish has some differences with what they're still restricting as opposed to what the governor proposed for phase two. Are there any differences for EBR?
We're basically following what the governor has in his order. And the big thing for us in terms of phase two, in addition to trying to help businesses get restarted, is actually to increase testing. We now have free testing sites all over Baton Rouge. Walmart, CVS have lots of locations where you can get free testing, and then hospitals, other organizations are providing free testing, and we're trying to make certain that those test locations are from one end of the parish to the other. We're trying to do right now 2% of the population per month in terms of testing. That's the goal.
2% of the as yet untested, or are all of us going to go through this again?
Per capita.
Okay.
So 2% of the population, which is a tall order. And then I think statewide there are about 613 tracers who have actually been hired. And so the game plan there is if someone tests positive within 24 hours, they'll be tracking down where they think the virus started from.
Who is paying for all these free tests? Somebody's got to pay for it.
I think the insurance companies are covering in most of their plans, and then Medicare and Medicaid are covering that also.
So we don't have any out-of-pocket from the city parish standpoint on this?
No. Only maybe on our own. We're self-insured, so if our employees go, then we're going to be covering those costs.
Well,
but for general taxpayers, no.
We've had some people, and I am not challenging their right to do so, but we've had some people who violated social distancing in order to get out and make their feelings known about this horrible thing with George Floyd. Are we concerned that there could be a spike in cases because of all the people who have gotten close exposure to one another?
I think all of that is being watched. I mean, the whole phase two, we know that there's going to be a little bit of a spike just in opening things up, but I think what I've seen so far is that they feel like the spikes are under control.
It's pretty small. It wasn't in Baton Rouge, but there was in one city where they had a well-defined, very peaceful protest where somebody, from public health said, while you all are here, and we understand you want to have this demonstration, please, before you start showing symptoms, you should go get tested, and testing is available.
Right.
So hopefully...
And the mayor stressed that she still encouraged people, if you go out in public, to please wear a mask. I know there's a lot of controversy whether masks are really effective, but example in City Hall, it helps our employees who are working with the public when they feel like they're being protected by people coming in and being respectful.
So when do we think, and again, I know it's all an estimate, it's an estimate from the federal government, the state government, and local government, when do we think we're going to have something that looks like standard, robust tax collection in this parish again, because people are buying things at retail?
I would think probably be next month. I mean, we've seen those numbers go up. I mean, I think we're seeing way more activity already.
I think people have been waiting. And,
Yeah.
and they're ready to explode out there and start spending money again.
And I've been in one or two stores, and it looks like to me that there's sales everywhere. So retailers are trying to get people back in those stores and trying to reduce their inventories. If you want to buy something, it seems like now's a really good time to do it.
We are kind of regional in nature. Do you hear anything from your counterparts in, say, Lafayette or in the New Orleans area or suburban New Orleans areas? Are they seeing the same type of curve we are seeing in terms of?
They are, and there's been a lot of communication in terms of how are you doing this event and what are you going to do for 4th of July, et cetera. There's been a lot of commonality and discussions in terms of how are people handling events.
Well, I heard the USS Kidd cannot afford to sponsor the fireworks on 4th of July.
And part of what happened with the Kidd is, that's a huge event that takes months to plan.
Yes.
And we've been in communication with them and we've had discussions saying, look, by this date, we think we'll have a better handle. And they just decided it couldn't be done. Financially, it's a strain. It's a huge event to put together. We're trying to put together now some community-wide events, probably a flyover of Baton Rouge. We're trying to see if we can, in terms of electronically air for the community, the fireworks show from last year, just to get a little activity out there.
Well, at Christmas time, New Year's Eve, they managed to do a laser light show,
Which is amazing.
Which was pretty amazing
Right,
down there
right.
at Town Square. So maybe they'll be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
Well, the question is, do we really have to have fireworks in order to get together and celebrate our nation's birth?
Right. People always like
I'd like to think enough of us are ready to get out there again and
Right.
and have some street fellowship, some live music, and that good festival food,
Right.
and stuff like that. Fireworks isn't a deal breaker for me.
Well, I think we're going to have to wait and see. As we get further down the road, there's more and more research from the experts that are telling us what we don't have to be afraid of now that they've
Right.
got good, reliable data in large numbers. For example, the contact problem is nowhere near as bad as it might have been, and they've been able to quantify that. And so I'm hoping that probably mid to late July, they'll tell us that we can take off our masks, but I'm guessing we're not going to do that before.
Well, and it sounds like what we've understood, and Dr. Gabi, who's the medical director for EMS for East Baton Rouge Parish, he's explained still that the number one thing from the CDC now is washing hands, even probably more so than wearing a mask.
Our
Simple.
moms and grandmothers were much smarter than Dr. Fauci
Yes.
and some of the others, it seems.
Yes.
Because, it's amazing how they prove to be right.
Right. And you don't need expensive hand sanitizer. He stressed just simple soap and water.
Well, and
Basic and best.
if there is an upside to this, we may have all picked up the frequent hand washing habit because of
Absolutely.
this.
Which is one we should have had to begin with.
Well, I know. That's what our
Right,
grandma always
right.
said. Did you wash your hands before you come to the table?
My grandma used to make, if I came in from outside, it was wash my hands before I did anything else.
And my mother used to scream, and don't wash it in my sink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my grandma used to say, wash.
Yeah.
Wash your hands.
But I think as we get further down the road, I'm guessing that we've still, our reserve situation hasn't changed. If we get no more influx of funds from other sources, we've still got some reserves.
We can still survive, but we will be depleted. I mean, we know in the middle of storm season, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, storm season is used for East Baton Rouge. I mean, when we had the flood, I think the city drained the reserves of $14 million, and by city charter, we have to replenish those funds, and that's not easy to do without outside help.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk with one of the Assistant Chief Administrative Officers who specializes in MOSEP and disaster planning. Courtney, and they took my piece of paper away, so I don't know.
Courtney Scott.
Courtney Scott will be joining us right after this break. This is Exiles TV. Please stick around.
Thank you.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Clarence Bug Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bug Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
Done this before. Welcome back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us. Our final segment. I'm Bill Profita. He's Kevin Gallagher.
Guilty.
And in the center with us is Courtney Scott. Courtney is an assistant chief administrative officer for the city and parish of East Baton Rouge. And as it happens, she is our expert on emergency preparedness, spends a lot of time at MOSEP, the Mayor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. All these acronyms. Do you have to memorize all of them?
Pretty much. You do have to memorize all of them and make sure that we're always educating them to people. But I will tell you, if you try to say them 3 or 4 times fast, you might mix it up.
GOSEP is the one that always throws me, the governor's office.
Yes.
Well, there's GOSEP and MOSEP. And Courtney, we dodged a bullet over the weekend. We fortunately did not get anything like a serious storm. But talk to me about the preparations that were made for Cristobal.
Absolutely. So, of course, still being in a COVID-19 culture, that was one of the first things that we thought about. Shelters, and also making people aware of how they need to update your hurricane preparedness kits at home. Mm-hmm. You need more soap and water. You need masks. A lot of times family members may gather together from different households. Is that something we can do at this time, and look within that? A second step that we also did is reassessing our shelters and looking at percentages. So after talking to the American Red Cross and GOSEP and partners throughout the region, actually, we decided to make some adjustments to the percentages for shelters. So bringing it down to where people would normally have 10 feet for a day shelter, 20 feet for a night shelter, you're now looking at 40 feet for overnight, which means, of course, less people are able to be inside of a shelter. So when you make those adjustments, we'll start to look at more buildings and more spaces. And fortunately, we were not forced to have to go to that level. And hopefully the hurricane season will allow us not to have to go there with shelter at all, but we are prepared for it.
You know, a lot of us don't think about shelters.
Correct.
But I do remember a massive shelter being operated in the River Center.
Correct.
And there are others that were used in other parts of the parish. And when you have something like minimum or reduced capacity and social distancing,
yes,
do you have to have a plan in place before it gets close to have additional shelters? And how do you decide who goes where?
So you absolutely do have to have a plan in place, and we do pride ourselves in being prepared for that and thinking things through. Clay Reeves, who's our director of MOSEP, and his team does an amazing job of staying connected to the American Red Cross. Staying connected to GOSEP as well, and we've been looking at this as a regional plan as much as possible these days. So there's not a determination of who goes where or how you look at that, but of course we always take the assessment of when we ask people sheltering the most vulnerable populations first, your seniors, handicapped citizens that may need that, or anyone with disabilities. And then also, there's also pet shelters, because we see people stay at home because of their pets. We also have that in place too. So during this hurricane season, if there is a need to do that, we do have pet shelters as well.
How much sheltering for pets, capacity, roughly?
I don't have the full capacity at this moment, but I would honestly say that we look to assess how that works, and we work with our, the Animal Alliance, to make sure that we're assessing that according to the parish's needs.
Okay.
What about feeding at shelters? In the past, there were mobile feeding units that were quite good that would come up. Were any of those not available because they're no longer in business because of COVID, or did you have the proper feeding resources available?
We don't see that at this time. We do have some of the proper feeding resources in line, because what we're looking at is changing the way things would work. The supply is not the concern at this moment. It's the volunteers that would be able to go there. So we look at our VOADs, which are our volunteer organizations, and we're working cross-collaboratively. Mayor Broome has put in a whole community approach. So when we plan around recovery support functions that include health and social services, food services, lodging. So there are community stakeholders that are at the table. The food bank is at the table with that. St. Vincent de Paul is at the table as well. So we try to look at everything with the people that are on the ground, because they know the needs most.
Courtney, before we let you go, because we've got a break coming in a minute and a half, there are a lot of people, as we lead up to one of these events, that want to have the information in hand early. Where can they go to get all the up-to-date information from you?
Absolutely. So redstickready.com is where we encourage everyone to stay connected. We update the most accurate information there. And then we also encourage people to join a new text platform that we just opened as well. So you can text the word Red Stick Ready, one word, Red Stick Ready, to 225-243-9991. And every time that we activate MOSEP or we're in an emergency situation, we'll send out regular text messages to keep you connected as much as possible.
Well, that is pretty darn handy.
I have one last question for you before we go.
Sure.
There was an effort made by DPW to make sure that we didn't have any large obstructions in any of our, and I think they found like an ice machine or something like that,
Correct.
a grease trap or something. But was that is that part of what you do, making sure that DPW gets out there? And
So it's a collaborative approach. We have another ACAO, Kelvin Hill, that manages the DPW efforts. But again, it's all about collaboration and communication to make sure when we know that this is coming from a MOSEP end, we bring in all department leaders, connect with Darryl around a plan to move forward in a way that serves the parish the best. And that's what's the most important. So DPW is one of the teams that's fully activated, and those guys work hard every day, but they also definitely work hard in non-blue sky days.
well, thanks for what you do to get us prepared. Let's hope that you don't have to do your job again.
Yeah,
this year.
and again, from my point of view, this seemed like one of the smoothest run-ups that I've ever seen. So you and everybody deserve some credit for making it kind of easy on us. We never felt panic during all this, and a lot of that rests with you all.
Yeah, that's the key, making sure that we communicate and stay connected. So thank you for everybody for complying and doing what we need to do.
Courtney Scott, Assistant Chief Administrative Officer. She handles emergency preparedness, and we thank you for joining us, Courtney.
Thank you.
Back to you in a moment to wrap up Exiles TV. Stick around.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Clarence Bugg Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
Hey, we're back. It's Exiles TV. Thank you so much for the time you spent viewing the program. And by the way, this space is available.
Yeah.
If you'd like to talk to us about sponsorship of Exiles TV, we would love to talk with you.
Oh, such a deal we will make for you.
Indeed. The email addresses are pretty easy. You can reach out to us via email. His is bill@exilestv.com, and mine is Kevin@exilestv.com. Questions, comments, anything you'd like to know, we're here for you.
I want to tell you a little bit about what we are doing over the next couple of days. For those of you who also join us for our Facebook Live podcast, which is called The Morning Exiles, tomorrow morning we're going to talk about the interim LSU president stating the law in the face of this racist video that an incoming freshman posted, and then running backwards on his statement of the law, which was correct. And now, are all of these people that were offended going to think that he's lying to them? And does that make it worse rather than better?
In my opinion, it does. He should have just stuck to what the legalese was. There's a constitution, both state and a federal constitution, and there are certain things that we just have to let slide.
And then on this program on Thursday, Hiller Moore will be joining us to talk a little bit about what's going on in the court system as they come back to full speed, and another domestic violence homicide in our area.
That plus Crime Stoppers with Johnny Dunham. That's coming up on Thursday's Exiles TV. Until then,
hope you will join us for that. Join us tomorrow morning, and have a good day. Stay well.
God bless.